But yep, I think it's time that I introduce you to the dish that we'll be cooking today, which is Rajma Masala, or for those of you who are outside India, you may find it easier to call it a red kidney beans curry. All right. It's a famous vegetarian dish that's a regular part of diet in North India, the northern parts of India, Punjab. Um, Rajma Masala, the veggie burgers I ate in India, are still some of my favorites. Where did you eat them from? Did you eat them from a fast food giant? Because they do have a lot of options. So this is a dish that is very common and a regular. Like you may find it being served 2 to 3 times in a week, or even more than that. Maybe it's something that is cooked every day. It's very famous in North India. My family is originally from North, even though I grew up in South. We have strong roots to the North, so this was also a very, very common dish in our house growing up, still is a common dish. Um, this dish basically, and all other dishes involving red kidney beans, was developed after this beautiful ingredient was brought to us from Mexico. So I have to thank everyone from Mexico. I have to thank my Mexican brothers and sisters who made this ingredient available to us, and that has become such a rich part of our culture. If you wouldn't have brought this ingredient over to us, we wouldn't even have been cooking this. So yeah, Ian, thank you, and everybody else from Mexico, thank you. I As I said, I grew up in the southern parts of India, but my family had deep ties to the north. So, rajma was used in various different dishes, but I remember I I loved rajma being used in two specific dishes. One was rajma masala, and the other was black dal or dal makhni. These are the two things that it is used in, and I absolutely love it. And I don't eat it outside of these dishes. Um, but I do eat it a lot when it's involved in these dishes. And my most fond memories of this particular dish is when I used to be in high school. Is it high school? Well, I was in between second to fourth grade and fifth grade. Between second to fifth grade, um, I used to carry my lunchbox to school every day, and my mom used to wake up, cook lunch for us in the morning, and we used to not know what's in the lunchbox until we opened it, because my mom would get up really early, cook everything, wake us up, feed us breakfast. So she would be done with our lunch before she even woke us up, and it would always be a mystery as to what are we going to eat for lunch today. And it had become a sort of a thing that we wouldn't take a peek into our lunch boxes until it was time for lunch, and then we'd open it. um, all of us friends would sit together in the playground at school, open our lunchbox, share, eat, and it was quite some fun times. And I remember every time there was rajma masala, it used to be served with rice. So my mom used to mix rajma masala and rice, and with a ton of ghee. Ghee is clarified butter. It's very rich. It adds a lot of flavor, and it makes the dish really heavy. So my mom used to like mix a whole lot of ghee, rice, and rajma. And when I used to open up the lunchbox, it used to be like, whoa! I had the biggest grin on my face, like an idiot. I'd be like, "Ha! I'm the king of the playground today with this dish in my box," and it was amazing. So those are my first memories of this dish, and this is my take on this beautiful dish. All right, so let's get started. To cook this dish, first of all, you'll need whole spices. The whole spices that you will require are cumin, which would be approximately about 1 teaspoon, mustard seeds, half a teaspoon. You'll need green cardamom, around 4 pods, 4 clove pieces, a cinnamon stick. Now I couldn't get my hands on an entire cinnamon stick, like the big large one. We buy these in packets, and they happen to break, and I can't get my hands on a complete huge stick, so I take chunks out of it. But use approximately half a cinnamon stick. That should be more than enough. And then the next whole spice that you will need is bay leaf. Bay leaf is, a very important ingredient in many curries and rice dishes because of the flavor that it gives. It's amazing, and when you sizzle it in oil, you see the color change, and then it's just pretty. For the powdered spices, you'll need red chili powder, around 2 teaspoons. Don't be if you have bigger heat tolerance, or if you can take more spice, you can increase the quantity as per your taste. But I would suggest 2 teaspoons. I am taking red Kashmiri red chili powder, which is stronger in its color and lower on its spice level. So I'm taking around 3 teaspoons here, but I would suggest 2 teaspoons for you. Turmeric, half a teaspoon. Turmeric is a very, very strong spice and should be used in moderation. You have coriander powder, which would be 1 teaspoon. Amchur powder, which is raw mango powder, and is used to make this curry add a little sour kick to this curry. You'll need raw mango powder, a teaspoon of it. And then you'll require kasuri methi, which is basically dried fenugreek leaves. You'll require 2 teaspoons of this. It's You add kasuri methi and garam masala. You add kasuri methi and garam masala to the end of the dish, when the cooking is almost done and you're going to let the dish rest. But since we are going to pressure cook this particular dish, I can't put it right at the end for fear that the spices may be raw. So I'm going to put it up with the onions and with the tomatoes basically. But these ingredients are used as toppings, so that's the first flavor, the first taste you get in a curry or in any dish that they're used basically. What you'll be needing next is onions. I've taken 3 large red onions here, which have been sliced into thin slices. I haven't really gone ahead and separated these onions because they're going to be separated when I put them into the cooker. I'm not going to spend time separating them manually by hand. Tomatoes, 3 large tomatoes, which I have chopped up into small pieces. Hey there, Rainy Flames. Can't stick around, but I just wanted to pop in and say hey. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. And let's continue cooking. So then we have diced potatoes, 3 to 4 potatoes that have been peeled and diced. Potatoes can't be left in the open because it has starch content. So you need to put them in water once you peel them and slice them. We don't need to boil them because they'll be boiling in the pressure cooker. So make sure that you put them in water, otherwise you're going to have them go brown and bad. It's not going to taste the same. So once again, 3 large red onions, sliced, cubed and peeled potatoes around 3, and chopped tomatoes around 3. Those are this is like the overview of all the ingredients that you'd need. So apart from the ones I've already explained, which are the whole spices, the powdered spices, and the tomatoes, onions, and potato, you'll need 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste, which is homemade. I have homemade ginger garlic paste, which is made up of 2 parts of garlic and 1 part of ginger. Homemade ginger garlic paste tastes the best. You may get it in a store, but personally, when you make it fresh, grind it fresh, and it just gives a really awesome flavor. Hey Fleon, things are going great, Fleon. Nice to see you here. Hey Pickle, hey Yama. I hope you all are having a great day, people. Welcome. You never knew about diced potatoes? Well, it's easier to dice them if you don't boil them. So that's what we have done here. We have peeled them, diced them, and soaked them in water so that they don't starch away. So you need ginger garlic paste. These are the whole spices that I already explained. And then you'll need slit green chili. So we have slit around 4. You just take the green chili and split it right in the center. That's all you need to do to slit it. So we have taken 4 of these, and that should be more than enough. If you If you have a higher tolerance to spice, once again, you can increase the number of green chilies to add that bit of kick. But 4 to 5 should be okay for a regular like palate. Never put them in water. I will try. Definitely do. It'll keep them fresh until you require them for cooking. So those are the ingredients that we require, and this is the star ingredient of this dish. Hey, Fleon, I won't stay for long, but I have to go. Meanwhile, have a good one. Thank you so much, Fleon. Thank you. This is the star ingredient of this dish. It's red kidney beans or rajma. I've taken around 250 grams of rajma, and it's been soaked overnight in just water. It helps speed up the cooking process. So these are really tough to cook, and if you don't soak them overnight, it's going to make your cooking time even longer. So you need to make sure that you've soaked them overnight. We're also going to be using a pressure cooker, as it helps cook this curry quick compared to, say, a pan or a pot or any other cookware. You would take like 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes at max to cook this in a pressure cooker. But in another pot or in another cookware, you may take close to 40 to 45 minutes to cook this dish. So yeah, pressure cooker is the way to go. We'll start by turning on the stove and maintaining a high heat to warm up the cooker. Once the cooker is warm, we'll be adding oil, but you want the cooker to be warm before you even move on to the oil. For the type of oil, I'm using extra virgin olive oil, but you can use any preferred type of oil that you have or you like. You don't specifically need to use any one type of oil. It works with anything. I'm going to be adding in 3 tablespoons of oil. And once again, if you're more health conscious or if you want to splurge a little and just make it taste better, you can reduce the oil or add the oil as per your taste. Whatever I'm telling is just the basics. So once the oil begins to crackle and smoke is when we are going to go ahead and add in our whole spices. You want the oil to be hot so that the spices start sizzling. And once you add the oil, once you add the spices, you're going to hear the spices crackle and sizzle. So you start hearing it sizzle, and Indian cooking is all about the delicate balance between various spices. You need to have just the right quantity to make it flavorful. Too little and the spice fails to do its job. And too much, it's overpowering everything else. In fact, I did mention something about turmeric earlier, right? So one of my friends used turmeric in a dish excessively, and she calls it the spice of the devil. And she's basically scarred of using that particular spice, turmeric, again in any dish. And she's like, I'm never using turmeric again. Sorry, Neko, that I told this story to everyone. I hope you don't kill me. But use spices in moderation. Don't let it overpower anything, otherwise you're not going to enjoy eating at all. You're going to saute the spices in the oil until they begin to crackle and emit a really nice flavor. And once the spices are done, you're going to add the onions. And once you add the onions, you just stir them around for a couple of, maybe 30 to 40 seconds. Hear that sexy sizzle? After just letting it, you separate the onions. You just take your time to break up the pieces of chunks of onions so that they all are their own individual slices, and then you add in the salt. Don't wait for more than a minute after you add the onions to add your salt. We're going to be browning the onions, so salt will help us brown the onions faster. It helps the onions sweat, and it basically speeds up the browning process, because trust me, browning an onion takes a long time. It's a time consuming task. Everything generic No, that's definitely not going in there. Hello. So you just start stirring around the onions. If you have it on high heat, if you brown the onions on high heat, you have to constantly keep stirring, or else the onions are going to stick the bottom of the cooker and burn. So I suggest that you start frying the onions on high heat until they are nicely browned, and don't worry about the onions like leaving out caramelized bits at the bottom of your cooker if they do, because once you put in the tomatoes, it's all going to sort out. But yeah, just for a few minutes on high heat, you start like basically browning the onions, and keep stirring them until they're brown. It's time consuming process, as I said. Just keep stirring it. Venom, thank you so much for dropping that follow. Bush Tank, this I'm cooking Rajma Masala or red kidney beans masala, and we are browning the onions to start out with. How do you tell when they are done? I will let you know. Good question. So I have been sauteing it for close to 6 minutes now, 4 minutes on high flame and 2 minutes on medium flame, and you see the onions have got a really nice brown color. They have also left out a lot of their basically the caramelized, and it has been caramelized, and their parts stuck to the bottom and the sides of the cooker, which once again you don't need to worry about. You can just, once you add the tomatoes, all that flavor is going to get mixed up, since tomatoes leave a lot of moisture. So do all donations go to charity? Well, yes, the ones you donate through the link specified goes to charity. It's for Create the Kids. This isn't live? Yes, it is live. Hello, this is live. I have parts of the cooking process pre-recorded. Because of technical limitations, I can't cook live, but this is live. This is 100% live. So the onions are brown now, and you'll know that you'll know they're brown once you can see that they're not translucent anymore, and they've got this really nice color, as well as they'll start just coloring the bottom of your pan, the bottom of your cooker as well. And by this time, they're really sweet, really delicious. Once the onions are done, we're going to add in our tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. You add in the ginger garlic paste after the onions are done, so that you can cook the ginger garlic paste and not stop the onions from browning. You'll need to saute the ginger garlic paste for a minute and a half or two on medium flame, on medium heat, until the raw fragrance of the ginger garlic paste stops like hitting your nose. One thing about Indian cooking is once you start cooking, everyone's going to know that you're cooking. Everyone's going to know that you're cooking. Your family is going to know you're cooking. Your neighbors are going to know you're cooking. The person walking down the street is going to know you're cooking. It's a dance between the flavors in the cooker and also the aroma. So be ready for people to ask you for lunch if you're cooking some food. That makes sense. Where are you from and what are you making? I'm from India and we are making red kidney beans curry or Rajma Masala. Hey Bug. Hey Piti. Thank God you're here, Piti. Let's get back. Hope you're doing great. Xfire, thank you for hitting that follow button. I appreciate it. So we're just going to cook the ginger garlic paste that we added until its raw aroma disappears. You need to make sure that the ginger garlic paste is cooked, otherwise no one likes the raw flavor of garlic or ginger just hitting you and ruining the taste of the curry. Vince, thank you for that follow, really appreciate it. You're from Alaska? Welcome. After you add the ginger garlic paste, you notice that the onions start to stick together. That's just the property of garlic, helping just making the onions stick together, and that's why you don't put ginger garlic paste before browning the onions. Next in, once the ginger garlic paste is done, whoa, we have We have our first donation towards the charity. Thank you so much, Everything Generic, with the message "Stay wholesome, Sunny Panda." Thank you for your donation towards the charity. That's a lot. You're basically helping kids get proper medicines with just $1. So you're doing a lot. Thank you so much. Are you a chef? No, I'm not a chef. I'm a home cook. I'm nowhere close to being a chef at all. Thank you so much, Everything Generic. You're awesome, and you have a big heart. Okay, so once the our ginger garlic paste is cooked, we are going to add in our tomatoes. And once we add in our tomatoes, see, the tomatoes have a lot of moisture, and once you start stirring them, they leave out a lot of moisture. So this is the perfect time for us to also cook our powdered spices, since the moisture will help the powdered spices not burn. So once again, we are taking in red chili powder, turmeric, coriander powder, garam masala, and after that we are going to be adding in raw mango powder and kasuri methi. All these ingredients have been explained at the start of the stream and will be there on the words. So you turn up the heat after adding the tomatoes and the spices, and just look at that lovely color that you have. Lovely color without even having it cooked. That's just going to turn delicious soon. Once you add in the tomatoes and the spices, turn up the heat and start cooking the tomatoes. You'll need to keep stirring them, and it should take close to 8 to 10 minutes to cook through. 10 out of 10 stream. Thank you, Everything. Is Dubai in India? No, Dubai is not in India. It already looks so good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Twitch has cooking stream now? It does. And this is my second year doing cooking. So once you add in the tomatoes, you need to cook the tomatoes, and cooking the tomatoes also takes time. You don't want the tomatoes to be raw, because if the tomatoes are raw, you get a really sour flavor. The curry, you don't want the curry to be excessively sour. You put in the tomatoes to add a little sweet tinge, a touch of acidity, and a bit of sourness. But if you have the tomatoes uncooked, they're going to overpower your dish and make it completely sour. So you need to cook the tomatoes well. You'll know when the tomatoes are cooked when they lose their bright red color and the oil that you have in your cookware starts floating and separating towards the side instead of being collected in the center. That's when you know that your tomato is cooked. So yeah, let's get back to cooking our tomato. There's a lot of stirring. You're going to give your arms a good workout. Mossy Monk, thank you for dropping that follow. Here's all the moisture that the tomato leaves, and that's going to help the tomatoes cook. Once the tomatoes are somewhat 50 to 60% cooked, we're going to put in our green chilies. So another thing about ingredients and Indian cooking, you can add them in different stages of prep to have them give different flavors. For example, garlic, minced garlic, crushed garlic, and whole garlic all have 3 different kinds of flavors. And when you add the garlic into your dish, produces different kinds of flavors. So adding in green chilies with your onions will fry them and give a nice bite once the dish is cooked. When you add it after the tomatoes are somewhat cooked, it still has the kick to it, and the spice will help balance the sweetness of the tomatoes and the onions. Somebody asked me how spicy is it going to be once it's done on a level of scale of 1 to 10. This one is one of the lesser spicy curries, pickle. So it's going to be on a scale of 3, maybe 3. Shameless EU, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. How old am I? I'm 26. All right. So this is when you know the tomatoes have cooked. Look, it's lost its bright red color, and the oil has started to just seep out through the sides, and you can move on to the next step. Hey Zig, I made you hungry. That's a good compliment. Once the tomatoes are cooked, we are going to add in the star of the show, which is our red kidney beans, as well as the potatoes. So both of these are going to be put in, and then you're going to work out your arms some more by mixing it all up. You're going to mix it all up so that the onions, the tomatoes, the masala, everything is spread out evenly. And once that's done, you'll need to add in water. You add in approximately 750 milliliters of water for this curry. So 750 milliliters of water goes in. People usually say if you're cooking a curry and you need to add water, you need to have the water boiled before adding it, or else it stops the cooking process, which is true, but it depends from dish to dish. In this dish, I'm not cooking anything that could stop cooking. So I'm going to add in just room temperature water, and I'm not salting the water before adding, because I will be checking the salt once the water comes to a boil. So yeah, that's one more thing I would like to clarify. I'm going to watch this one and try to cook this meal on the weekend. Pickle, do let me know how it goes, and I would love to see some pictures too if you can. Bugsy, thank you for the follow. Ban, thank you for the follow. Potato in Rajma, thanks for ruining it. Oh, come on, Sid. It's it's not ruining it. Zig, thank you for the follow. All right, so we're going to bring the water to a boil. All right, we're going to bring the water to a boil. The water that you just added, and once you notice that it starts bubbling, you're going to check for salt. You want to check for salt. You want to check for seasoning before you close the lid of the pressure cooker. It is, man. I'm from Punjab and having rajma while watching this. Yeah, well, that's what I just explained, Sid. India is so like, we have a mix of cultures and our own food. We find various different types of our own food. The food that I cook here is maybe completely different from the food that you cook there. It's the variations of the dishes that make our cuisine so rich. You could have rajma in Punjab, and the same rajma would taste different somewhere else in the country, and that's something I love about our cuisine. You never get bored of the same thing. You're very kind. Ete, no, you are very kind. Thank you. Is this your first time? No, I'm not. This is not my first time streaming. In fact, this is my second year participating in this charity. All right. So once you're sure that the seasoning is fine, that the salt, you're good with salt and stuff, you can move on and close the cooker. Put on the lid. Use both your hands. Don't be like me trying to close it with one hand. It's a struggle. Make sure that it's properly closed. The whistle isn't blocked by anything. And now you let the cooker do its job for close to 15 minutes. It needs to whistle 25 times for the rajma to be cooked properly, because it's a hard dish to cook, and cooking in a cooker speeds up the process, but it still needs time to cook. Are you in India right now? Yes, Sid, I am. I like your hat. Thank you. So you just wait for the cooker to whistle, and while you wait for the cooker to do its job, you can whisper sweet things to it. Make sure whatever you say doesn't add any more pressure on the cooker, though. We don't want things getting too steamy. Alright, enough of my bad puns. Rajma is red kidney beans. Where in India? I live in Mysore, Sid. Why the fake accent? This isn't fake. This is just how I usually speak. FD, no. Thank you for dropping that follow. Oh my god, Div. Hey, come on. We're just trying to steam up the kitchen, alright? I have a panda outfit I use for Halloween. Clipping this for tact. But hey, really, there's something about the pressure cooker whistling. It's like maybe it's due to the instinct of just knowing something delicious is around the corner. Because from from the time you're a child, when you hear the cooker go off, you know that whatever is cooking is going to be freaking delicious. Or maybe I just like a steamy hot kitchen. I don't know, but the cooker makes me appreciate steam, and basically it gives me an idea of why some people love steam powered machinery so much. And listen to this. Pressure cooker ASMR. Exactly. And you gotta wait. You gotta wait for 25 whistles. So you're gonna be hearing a lot of whistles. Okay, you're gonna be hearing a lot of whistles. You better enjoy those whistles. Do you know how to cook any other food? Zig, sadly, I don't know. My knowledge to cooking is restricted to Indian cuisine. I can make things like fried chicken or mashed potato, but apart from that, my cooking is limited to Indian. How long will it cook for? Bugs. It takes approximately 15 to 18 minutes for the cooker to whistle 25 times. So you just got to wait for it to whistle 25 times and enjoy doing something. Meanwhile, can you beatbox to ASMR? No, I can't. You don't want me beatboxing either. You don't. Finger licking good. Hello. Thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. We are watching some steamy action in the kitchen. My cooker is going to whistle for 25 times before our rajma is ready. It's a fantastic sight. If you're used to it every day, you're probably going to be like, hey, my cooker is just whistling. There's nothing special to watch, or there's nothing special to keep an eye on. But it's if you have a cooker whistling for close to 18 minutes, everybody around is going to know. So a funny thing that happened. Thank you. How do I pronounce your name? I just say I loves. Thank you for the follow. Hi, hello. Um, so there was a funny story with the pressure cooker. I was gaming with my friends. We were playing Rocket League, and we were cooking something on the pressure cooker, and it was like we had to leave it on for 10 to 15 whistles, and the pressure cooker kept whistling, and every time it whistled, my mic picked up the pressure cooker. And my friends were like, what is going on? They didn't understand that it was a pressure cooker doing the work. And they were like, what's going on? What's that sound? Is it like a car? Is it like, you know? They didn't know what it was. Wilaswi, hello. Thank you for the follow. That's my aunt right there who just dropped me a follow. So you just wait for 25 whistles. If you're on a call with someone, tell them that your pressure cooker is doing its job and not to bully it. Enjoy the steam that it produces. And maybe you can like watch something on Netflix while you keep a count. Though you don't want to overcook. You don't want to cook it more than 25 whistles. And once the last whistle pops off, you need to let it rest in its own heat until all the steam from within has exited the cooker on its own. And then you open it up, and be very careful while opening your cooker. Don't be like me who's trying to open it with one hand, because steam burns are not a joke. Use both your hands, open the cooker very carefully, and be careful of the steam that escapes out. Be very careful of the steam that escapes out. And there's your curry. Hey Yabo. You greet the curry with a ladle after you open up the pressure cooker's lid. Take a ladle and start mixing it. Mix it so that everything that's cooked just spreads out evenly, and there's no lumps of anything anywhere. And by this time, your rajma and potato should be cooked well. If you're unsure if your rajma is red kidney beans, for those of you who are joining us now. So the rajma, if you're not sure if it's cooked, what you can do is just press it up towards the side of the cooker with your ladle, and it should mush easily. If it mushes easily, it's cooked. If it doesn't mush easily, you need to put it back on the cooker. But 25 whistles should be more than enough. It looks so nice. That looks so good. Give me some. I'm glad. I'm glad you find that nice. Here it is, served with white rice, basmati rice, some tasty red kidney beans, and potato curry, along with steamed white rice. So that's what you are cooking today. Hey Hunter, thank you so much for dropping that follow. What's whistles? Whistles is when your pressure cooker is doing the job. Like I explained, you need to leave it for 25 whistles, and um, let's show you. Let's show you what whistling is. Once you close the cooker, once you close the cooker, you wait for it to build up steam, and then you wait for the whistle. Listen to the whistle. So you let it whistle 25 times. That is what whistling is. And then you end up with delicious rajma and rice.